Good morning, CSL Tacoma, and all of you who are watching at home. We welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living, and you've just heard Meru, played by Bienvenido, Yangco. It's by Yerke Shakayev, arranged by Dmitry Varelas. And didn't you feel the Himalayas? It was written to describe a Himalayan mountaintop. I don't know. We were praying earlier, and they were rehearsing it. I felt like I'd gone to the mountain. It was wonderful. So we welcome you this morning, and we're going to start with our theme song, this is Palm Sunday, and so we're going to do a song written by Marty Hogan called "Ride On, Jesus, Ride."
I'd like everyone to help along with it. It's pretty easy as far as the call and response. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride on, Jesus, conquering King. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride on, Jesus, conquering King. Ride on, Jesus, ride. King Jesus rides on a milk-white horse. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Cross the Jordan, he did cross. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Everybody, ride on, Jesus, conquering King. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride so humble, ride so true.
Ride on, Jesus, ride.
Ride to bring the world to you.
Ride on, Jesus, ride.
Ride on, Jesus, conquering King. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride on, Jesus, ride, everybody. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride on, Jesus, conquering King. Ride on, Jesus, ride. All right, gonna take it up. Ride again in the hearts of us.
Ride on, Jesus, ride.
Ride again in the hands of us.
Ride on, Jesus, ride.
Ride on, Jesus, conquering King.
Ride on, Jesus, ride.
Now beyond all time and space.
Ride on, Jesus, ride.
Now in every soul and race.
Ride on, Jesus, ride.
Ride on, Jesus, conquering King. Ride on, Jesus, ride. One more time, okay? Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride on, Jesus, conquering King. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride on, Jesus, conquering King. Ride on, Jesus, ride. Ride on, Jesus, conquering King. Ride on, Jesus, ride.
Okay, so I want to introduce our musicians today. Terry O'Hara on piano. Of course, you just heard Bienvenido, Yangco. And our guest musician is Anjali Silva today. So I want to welcome you all to Palm Sunday. You all know this story, of course. This was when Jesus returned to Jerusalem. I guess he hadn't been back since he was about 12 years old when he dazzled the rabbis at the temple with his wisdom and knowledge of Scripture. That, of course, they were in the oral tradition, so that had been passed on to him. And then his parents lost him in Jerusalem, and he said he was about his father's business. He was really annoyed that they tried to get him and take him home. So this is his return to Jerusalem, and he decides to go into the city of Jerusalem on one end, and at the other end, the Romans are celebrating, and they're riding in on white horses, all in uniforms and in military regalia. So it's quite a sight. He's riding in on a donkey. So that's what we're going to be addressing today, and I want to introduce our leaders today. Bev Holland is your practitioner of the day. Reverend Matthew Breck will be leading the meditation a little later. And so we're going to start with an earth blessing that is from the Chinook Psalter and read to you by Bev Holland.
Good morning. This is the first time I haven't worn a mask up here. This is very interesting. We are sitting and standing on sacred ground. And today we honor the Salish tribes who were the tribes that were here way before we ever got here. The ground is still sacred. And this blessing is from one of the tribes, the Chinook tribe. Earth blessing. May all I say and all I think be in harmony with you, God within me, God beyond me, maker of the trees. In me be the wind-swept truth of the shore pine fragrance of balsam and spruce, the grace of the hemlock. In me be the strength of Douglas fir, straight, tall, strong-trunked land hero of fireproof bark, sheltering tree of life. Cedar's truth be mine, cypress truth, juniper aroma, strength of you. May all I say and all I think be in harmony with you, God within me, God beyond me, maker of the trees. In me be the truth of stream-lover willow, soil-giving alder, hazel of sweet nuts, wisdom-branching oak, in the joy of crabapple, great maple, vine arbutus, bright with color and fragrance, be with me on earth. May all I say and all I think be in harmony with you, God within me and God beyond me, maker of the trees. And I want to offer you this time to close your outer eyes if you so choose for our opening prayer. And so right here and right now, I recognize that creative force which made all the trees, all the water, all the people of our planet who have ever been here and ever will be here is all one. We are all one with that Creator. We indeed have the blessings of our forefathers within us. We have the blessings of God within us that we can reach out with and bless others. And so as we watch the little buds on the trees and the flowers come to life this spring, we can think about how our inner life is also coming to life. As we choose to have that center alive and aware and being that same Creator within us. And so I'm so grateful knowing all these truths. And I say, and so it is.
Good morning. Wow, thank you for that. That was beautiful. I'd like to invite you to take this beautiful energy into meditation with me. Just allowing our eyes to close once again. Allowing our feet to touch the earth. Let's just breathe in the truth that we are all connected. That there is a life force, a creative force which ties everything together. So I invite you to breathe into the truth. Breathe into the spiritual truth. And together let's recognize that life is ever creative. it's beautiful. And that the creative essence of life, the force of life, the energy and the vibration of life guide us to freedom. Just know this for yourself. Ask yourself, what is it in me that wants to show up? What does the divine self of me want to create? Notice what comes up. And let's allow any obstacles to simply fall away. Any obstacle just falling away. And now in this beautiful clear space, trust the creativity. Trust your soul's message, its expression. And I invite you to see yourself in freedom. Experience the feeling of freedom and joy, peace. You're all good coming to you in every area of your life, right here and right now. Just breathing it in, allowing it to resonate. Feeling it and being it. And let's allow it to move through us and as us out into the world. When we allow our creativity to express itself and bring us to our spiritual freedom, we recognize that for others, and we invite them to do the same. So as we breathe this in and we begin to come back to the room, I invite you to work on that this week. Practice. Be in it. And feel the good that comes with it. Taking a deep breath, we open our eyes when we're ready. We return to the room, feeling energized and pulled forward by our creativity, moving into our freedom. May you be well, may you be grounded, confident and secure, and so it is.
If you know the song, go ahead and sing along. Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. When I wake up in the morning, love, the sunlight hurts my eyes. Something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's all right with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be, here we go, what a lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. you. And I know it's gonna be what? Come on. A lovely day. Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. A lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. Come on. A lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. A lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day.
Oh. So we'd like you to just stand up and say hello to a few people. Don't walk around, but just someone close to you. Say hi. We're reintroducing at least hello, if not hugs. Yeah. All right. Blackbird. Blackbird. It's right next. Blackbird. Next song. Black? No, it's not. Okay. Okay. Okay, you can be seated again. Yeah. We've changed the why. Yeah. Okay.
When I was like 13, I started to learn guitar. I mean, I played from the time I was like 4, but I started to learn, take lessons, and I learned how to play Blackbird. But it's challenging. I was 13. That was a long time ago, and I can't play it the same way that I used to, like up and down the frets. So here's a simplified version of that. But it brought me back to my teen years doing this song again. And it still holds the power, you know, that song. It's very powerful. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for the moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird fly. blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Oh, amazing. So today's message is becoming creative. This month, the theme is around creativity and freedom. And so we're going to look at first at an amazing occurrence that occurred in Exodus chapter 3. It's when a young Moses, while shepherding his sheep, comes upon a bush that's burning but not being consumed. And as he steps closer, he hears the voice of God that says, "Don't come near. Take your shoes off your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground." And this is a turning point in history. It's the time when Moses really received a call from the God of his being to connect with the sacred. And in that connection, he realized who he came here to be and do. And he came to be a great leader and to free the Israelites from slavery. Moses lived his divine purpose, not always without some kicking and screaming, but live he did. So in our New Thought tradition, we believe that the Bible is written on many levels and layers, and that the deepest level is the level that addresses our developing and deepening connection with the God of our being. So while at the historical level, this incident is about Moses making the sacred connection, at a deeper level, it's about our making the sacred connection and the revelation that we are each standing on holy ground, and that we are at the point of a divine call to be that which we were meant to be. So it's sacred, it's revered wherever we are. We are standing on holy ground. Choosing is an act of creation. So choosing is that act of creation. It's the most important thing you make, are the choices about how you see yourself in the universe, and your relationship to the divine. So since we're coming up on Passover, which starts on April 16th, which is that moment when Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt where they were enslaved. And you may ask, well, how is Passover, the exodus of the Jews, relevant today? So I think you'd have to answer, to suppose that the creative intelligence of the universe would create humans in bondage and then leave them bound would be to dishonor the creative power, which we call God. Suppose God could make each one of us an individual without leaving us to discover ourselves. So that would be to suppose really an impossibility. So liberation really never ends. And the past is never dead. It's not even past, William Faulkner liked to say. History repeats itself. George Santayana is credited with the famous quote, "Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it." And Mark Twain said, "History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes." Anyway, Passover is celebrated with great ceremony. How many of you have been to an actual Passover Seder in a synagogue or in a home? We've done them here in the church in the past. One year we had 65 people downstairs at a Passover Seder. And sometimes I do them at home, but I love this ceremony. It's such a wonderful story of liberation And what's a greater thing than that? So usually there's a meal served, and not only are these celebrated in the synagogue, but in people's homes. As the Jewish did, they made a lot of their teachings around the serving of food and story. And so that's how people remembered the stories of their faith, through these ceremonial events. So they perform traditional recitations. There's usually a Haggadah that has the ritual for the evening. They drink 4 cups of wine, dip parsley into salt water, eat matzah, which is an unleavened cracker, and they sing late into the night. And you're going to hear a Passover song a little later that Anjali prepared for us today. So anyway, it commemorates the passing over of the forces of destruction, of the sparing of the firstborn of the Israelites when the Lord smote the land of Egypt on the eve of the Exodus. So the heartless Pharaoh, a lot like Putin, really, refused to free the slaves. And so there was one last plague that occurred. And then there was an angel of death that came to kill the firstborn sons of the Egyptians. And God told Moses to order the Israelite families to sacrifice a lamb and smear the blood on the door of their houses. And in this way, an angel would know to pass over the houses of the Israelites. So this is why the festival commemorates the escape from Egypt and why it's known as Passover. We all want to be free, but at the same time, we should realize that liberty is not license, and we're free to give full expression to every capacity we possess, provided that freedom harms no one and hurts no thing. So liberation really never ends. And the second point I want to make is this whole notion of the stranger. It's 36 times in the book of Exodus, it talks about the suffering of the stranger. You shall not oppress the stranger, for you know the feelings of a stranger, having yourselves been strangers in the land of Egypt. So it refers to someone in a foreign land without a friend or an acquaintance, whose spirit is low, whose heart is broken. So Passover is a time to reflect on the meaning of displacement and displacement of others. We can think of the millions of Ukrainians that are now displaced. 44 million Ukrainians say they are a distinct people from Russians. And yet there's a history of oppression. Stalin's terror famine of 1932 directed at Ukrainians killed 5 million people in an attempt to industrialize the country. So while enslaved in Egypt, the Israelites were under Pharaoh's leadership, which believed in stopping at nothing, even the power of God, to achieve his will. So when we become conscious of our oneness with universal good, belief in evil, sickness, limitation, and death tend to disappear, and we won't ask amiss, supplicating as though God were not willing, begging as though he were withholding. So we need to turn to that living presence within and achieve a perfect realization of spirit. So Passover is important to Jews as it celebrates their birth as a nation too. And the third point is choosing freedom. Our loneliness, our sense of isolation, our poverty, are results of being disconnected from the fullness of the divine self. So how do we choose freedom? We connect with the divine in the stranger. And where we feel estranged or no longer close and affectionate, we move closer to our community, both locally and globally. So one of the ministers in our movement suggested that we each have an Exodus story. We each have a story of how we got liberated or how we're in the process of liberation. And you could have your own Passover celebration, just sharing those stories with one another. What's the value of retelling the story? When have you felt left out, rejected, or oppressed? So Easter week is a perfect opportunity to celebrate that freedom and celebrate your own liberation story. The science of mind confirms that whatever we give attention to expands. And so as we contribute to, or as we acknowledge our own liberation and the liberation of ourselves leads to an acknowledgement of the liberation of all humanity and all of life. So we tell the truth, we share the truth, we speak out, and follow our words and deeds, which is good for all. So I wanted us to affirm, I am an open, creative channel for inspiration and peace. Let's to say that together. I am an open, creative channel for inspiration and peace. The late John Selby Spong, whom I really loved, he called God the ground of all being. And he said that God is the ground of all being when we have the courage to be. And so Holmes also said, I am, when Mario and I were in Austin, the minister there put this to music, but he writes in the textbook, I am, what more can I say? I am, it is enough. And that was set to music. I'll try to find the music, Terry. We can play that sometime. So I am standing on the holy ground of being. I am, and that is enough. And one of my favorite stories about Jesus is the Pool of Bethesda. Archaeologists have actually found the place in Jerusalem. The name Bethesda means house of healing. And John said it was a place in Jerusalem by the sheep gate with 5 porches on which would wait a multitude of sick people to receive the benefit from healing waters at certain time periods. And so the healing was possible when the waters were troubled. Now, troubled means stirred up and bubbling and doing all this stuff. The archaeologists discovered there was this high cliff out of which would come this bubbling hot spring, and then it would roll over the edge and cascade down to the Pool of Bethesda. And so when it would spout up and fall down the cliff, that's when the waters were troubled. So the story is that there was a man that was lame that lay at the edge of the pool on his cot for 38 years. Can you imagine that? Trying to get to the waters, but every time the waters were troubled and started bubbling, people would rush ahead of him, and so he lay there unassisted. So 38 years is a long time to use an excuse that no one will help you get in a pool. And so when Jesus encountered him, he said, do you really want to be healed? And the man affirmed that he did. And Jesus said, well, just take up you don't even have to get in the water. Just take your bed up and walk. And so the man did. So Jesus brushed off the excuses. This is the whole notion of we've got to give up all our excuses to be creative, because we've got all kinds of excuses, don't we? So when Jesus said, do you want to be healed? The sick man said, well, sir, no man will put me in the pool when the water is stirred up, but while I'm coming, another steps down before me. So he didn't put much stock in it. And very often we wait too long to ask for healing. Look at that. 38 years this man waited. So, and he was healed in an instant. So maybe the lame man didn't believe in his own healing. Matthew's gospel said, ask and it will be given you, and you will find. Knock and the door will be open. So we can work around conventional methods. Jesus approached the lame man, whereas most of the people in the crowds that were seeking healing usually approached Jesus. And he barely spoke to him. There was no ritualistic process. He didn't have to step in the pool. He just said, get up and walk. So after Jesus slipped away, the Jewish people, because you're not supposed to work at all on the Jewish Sabbath, admonished this no longer lame man for carrying his mat on the Sabbath. And the walking man said, well, the man who made me well said, pick up your mat and walk. And so at this point, the healed man can't tell other people who healed him because he didn't know Jesus' name. And later they encounter each other in the temple, and Jesus tells him to avoid making more errors in the future, lest he have more trouble in his life. So the whole event is kind of carried out on an on-the-fly manner. And it's not easy to live with illness and hope for healing. Many people I know have chronic and acute health issues. And I know health problems don't go away very easily. Attitude changes can be instantaneous, and actions usually follow thoughts of healing. So a positive outlook in the face of your own disease or injury, or as our bodies get older, is a miracle in itself. We have to do our part to maintain good health. So this whole regime of healthy living matters. And you might wonder about that lame man being there for 38 years. You know, you dummy, get your parents to help you. Or what about your friends? Where are they? Or just a stranger. Couldn't you ask them to help you get in the pool? So it's wise to see the pool as filled with hope and opportunity, and then dive in for healing and respond when you hear the voice of guidance on what you need to do for a better life. So today, as I mentioned earlier, is Palm Sunday. Why would Jesus want to waltz into Jerusalem when he knew the Pharisees and the Sadducees were not happy with him? When he knew that death was imminent? I believe Mary Magdalene had prior to this anointed him with a special oil, which was only used when people were about to die or to anoint the dead. So she had a premonition of his dying, and as a result, he knew too. He knew that he was going to die. So he made the decision that he had more work to do, and it had to be done in Jerusalem. So to show him honor and respect, people made a path for him out of palm branches. And so the masses were placing palm branches before him. I used to be Episcopalian, and we would get these little palm leaf crosses on Palm Sunday. And but we're using roses today. So there was a Palm Sunday story of this family who had a 6-year-old son who had to stay home from church on Palm Sunday because of a strep throat. And when the rest of the family returned carrying palm branches, the little boy asked what they were for, and the mother explained, well, people put them on the ground as Jesus came by. Wouldn't you know it? The boy fumed. The one Sunday I don't go to church and Jesus shows up. So a journey requires internal strength to be able to do it. And likewise, it required courage for Moses to become the one who would free the Israelites. And so this morning, the invitation is simple. Do you have the courage to be your truth? There's a great line delivered by Denzel Washington in the movie The Manchurian Candidate, and he said, beyond what's been planted in us is the truth, and we have to find that truth. It's the only thing that will save us. Do you have the courage to be your truth? Do you have the courage to be your gifts in the world and live on purpose? Do you have the courage to be love and when fear is all around you? Do you have the courage to be peace when discord seems to be the prevailing energy? Do you have the courage to be health when disease seems to have attacked your body? Do you have the courage to recognize that wherever you stand, you are standing on holy ground? We are charged with those things this beautiful Palm Sunday morning as we remember God's words to Moses. Take the shoes off your feet, for the place on which you stand is holy ground. In a little while, we are going to anchor and confirm all of this in our traditional Palm Sunday rose blessing ceremony. But for just a moment, let's pray together. And so, Holy God, the magnificence that is the universe and all of its creation just holds us and enfolds us in its embrace. It is God, the one power, forever being itself through and as a means for all existence. And just as God supports and supplies all it creates, it supports and supplies all of us. And so we direct our thinking and speaking and acting with confidence, trust, and clarity. And so I'm grateful that the gift has already been given. It's here for all of us to receive. And in this knowing I'm at ease, I'm totally at ease, because this is my life, this is our life, and it is good. And so I release this word into law and love with deep gratitude. And so together we say, and so it is. God bless you all. Thank you. So it's time for our offering. We ask the ushers to come up, and we like to say the blessing and the offering together. So together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is. Now we'll hear Emmanuel. That reminds me of Vicky's workshop, the Peace Emmanuel, right? Yeah, so. So it's time for our rose blessing, and it symbolizes the recognition that the human is immersed in the divine and that we're truly one with God, and that each of you who has come forth into this world is the divine creation. And so we would like to, I'm going to invite Bev up, and we're going to give you a blessing by touching a rose to your forehead, and then you get the gift of a rose afterwards. Water symbolizes the flow of life. The rose is a symbol of love. And today symbolizes a divine love that is sacred. And with this ceremony, we consciously make that divine connection. And the blessing is you are made in God's image. So let us get in position here. So may you allow love to express in a greater way than ever before, because through love, all things are possible. We have just a quick announcement about a practitioner, not a practitioner, we have practitioner class starting in May, and we'll be contacting the practitioners that are involved in that class this week. And Bev, would you like to come up and talk about the new, we have a flyer if you didn't get it coming in. We've redesigned the foundations class, so we want to tell you all about it. It's very exciting.
Yes, there are many options these days to foundations, which is usually the first class that people take, but this one is open to anyone, whether you have had foundations in the past or not. It's called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. You've probably heard that saying because Ernest Holmes said it quite often. We'll be working deeply. That's something that I always say because we're always working on ourselves. We're always peeling the onion, so to speak, to learn more about ourselves, our truth, and what is our path. We'll be using the Science of Mind text and other texts that I bring into it. And then there's two other parts. There's 7 weeks of class, and then there is, the end of that is really delving into our spiritual mind treatment. That is something that everybody is interested in because this is how we heal ourselves and others. And sometimes it seems a mystery, but it is not. So there's a deeper understanding of that. And then the workshop that Rev.Frances and Rev. Matthew are offering in June is also part of this class. It is a full day on June 11th workshop on forgiveness. Yeah. I didn't realize I didn't say that. Okay. Forgiveness. It's going into forgiveness. Yes. Oh, thank you. So anyway, I'm around if you have any questions, and please sign up by the end of the month if you would like to attend. It starts on the 2nd of May. Thank you.
So let's stand. We're going to do the peace song differently. Please don't tangle yourself up across the aisles. We're going to send peace to the world today, just right where you are. And so, Terry, let's go. Did you want to do any treatment today? Stay for a few minutes, have a cup of coffee.